Hey, welcome back to another Montreal Nation podcast with hockey coach Frenchy directly for the beautiful country of Thailand on amazing great Tuesday night, January 7th, 2025. I almost said 2024. I said, we're just at the beginning of the 2025, so I have to be sure I'm going to said the right year, 2025. Montreal Canadiens going to be the big subject tonight because they're looking good. You know, they're looking great, by the way, and we have to talking about their performance the last couple of games and see what you think about them. And the chat, tell me what you think about the last couple of games for the Montreal Canadiens. We're going to be back tomorrow night at 8:30 p.m. with Marco and Franks. Are going to talk about the half of the season for the Montreal Canadiens. Yes, they are not there. It's only play 40. They need to reach 41, but again, it would be Friday night, and then they play back-to-back games on the weekend. So I said, why not to do the half of the season report card for each player. So don't miss the show tomorrow night with Frank and, of course, and Marco will be also maybe off Thursday, but pay attention because sometimes I can pop up at the last minute. So Thursday is supposed to be a night off. We'll be back for the game between the Washington Capitals and the Montreal Canadiens. Is it the preview of the round number 1 of the playoff 2025? If you look about the standing before the game tonight, Montreal is 8 and Washington number 1. This is the big question of the night. You have to tell me if you think it will happen or not between the Washington and Montreal for the playoff at 2025. We'll see. But tonight, I'm not alone. They are back in the house. They are waiting for me to start talking about the U Bleu Blanc Rouge, the Montreal Canadiens. So welcome back, the co-hosts from Toronto and, of course, from Nova Scotia. Devin and Mr. Nartap are right there waiting for me to open the door.
Hello, Coach Devin, Hockey Nation. Great to be again together talking about this nice roller coaster uphill for Montreal right now.
You're absolutely about that. Devin, how's but I heard they have the last maybe couple of days. It's the weather is not good around the countries, everything like that, and what it look like the weather in Nova Scotia.
It's typical Nova Scotia weather. We got a huge snowstorm the day before Christmas, and then again another one on Christmas. So we had about 3 centimeters of snow, and then the temperature rose and everything melted. And so now it's cold, but we have no snow, and it's just started snowing again. So I don't know what's going to happen. The weather here changes by the hour, so you never know what's going on. But it's cold out, and it looks like it's going to snow tonight. So who knows? It's green one day, it's white another. It's Nova Scotia.
Okay, well, that's good to hear that. Hopefully, it will be better and better for all the people battled with snow. Like Alan Vanyako in Kentucky right now have a lot of snow, and it's not easy when you had the snow from Virginia all the way to South Carolina to North Carolina. Those kind of states in the USA, they don't know too much about snow, and it's really funny to watch this, to see the people, what they look like in the snow, by the way. But Mr. Nartap, how you feel about your Fritcher, Mr. Nartap? Devin, the Fritcher last weekend, it was very impressive to see him performing in front of a lot of people. He was not right there, but I was looking for him to find a way about this, but he was right there. If I featuring at the Black Menu, Devin, he was just with me together, and it was great to see him back in Thailand for another great evening with the people. So we want to appreciate a lot in our tap. How do you feel about your performance at the Black Menu in our tap?
I don't know. It was all a blur, right? I can't remember a single thing.
But
Coach,
we have to give credit,
I gotta
Mr. Nartap. We have to give credit for Luciano on that one. So as
Oh,
one
sure.
sharing that one over there. So it's not. I can take a little bit the half of the pie, but the other piece of the pie I have to go with Luciano about that one in our
Of
house.
course. He likes to stir things up. I get it.
That we have a few people in the chat. Tom Brown is in the house following by Abination. We have Sebastian number 2. Randy Walkman back from Alberta. Luciano, welcome back, moderator of the Hockey Nation show. Very busy, very busy, a really busy night for RJ Calero from New Jersey. Hopefully, you're not looking too much with the snow over there in New Jersey. But you have a 10 game in NHL on the Tuesday night. So we have to follow up a couple of games. But just say pay attention, guys. The Edmonton Oilers right now lead 3-0 against the Boston Bruins. The Edmonton looking good,
And
honestly. And crazy
how about
game
those
between the
Rangers?
Star, the Rangers, 3-3
It
between
was
both of
3
them.
nothing Rangers at one point.
Yeah. So
Yeah, that doesn't look good.
and now the Toronto tied the game. 20 goals for John Tavares. Interesting. Final year contract, UFA. We'll see if he will stay or not. And Toronto can talk about this a bit later. Pizza is in the house. Welcome back at Pizza. Claude Richard, notre ami Claude Richard, with a super shot last night. Thanks so much. Mr. Rules is in the house. Welcome back at Mr. Rules. RJ Calabro. We have Mr. Fan number 1 of Suzuki. Hello, fan number 1, Nick Suzuki. What a great year so far for the captain. Jimbo, welcome back, Jimbo. Hopefully you're doing well. Glad to see you around to be with us. Stan the Man is in the house tonight. Welcome back, Stan. Hopefully you're doing well. PLW, Patterson to score 3.5. Interesting. I don't think so. I see him. 1-1 Detroit, Ottawa. Very important game for both teams. Ottawa, I think they are struggling when I lost the last 3-4 games. And they tried the other side. Sunday, change the coach. They lost only one time. So completely contrasted team right now between both of them. Philippe from Sherbrooke, de retour avec nous ce soir. Philippe Bryan, welcome back, Philippe. Bush back in the house tonight. Bush, thanks to be a part of the show tonight. And Steve G, welcome back. Hopefully you're doing well, Steve G, directly from Colorado with his Avalanche. And of course, the Denver University Pioneer, the last 2 winner of the NCAA champions, the Denver University. What a great team over there. Bob Smith is in the house. Welcome back, Bob. And then we're going to go a little bit quicker, faster. Pete Martin back in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Pete Martin, welcome back, Pete. Hopefully you're doing well, Pete. And glad to see you around with the Hockey Nation Live show. See, Marco Larabi knocked the door tonight. Welcome back. A lot of game tonight. Yes, they have a lot of game to watch all the time. Moderator, Run with Kings 20. Sit at home. The Kings looking good. Live is great. And Utah, new team. What I can ask more about the Los Angeles Kings? Honestly, for me, guys, the Kings are surprised me. I was not expecting them to be at that part. I was a little bit questionable about the trade of the Rob Blake for the last couple of years, but he found a way to put the team on the right way. And nobody talk about who is the head coach of the Los Angeles Kings, Mr. Latap.
And until they run into Edmonton in the first round of the playoffs, coach, and then it's a different story. But we'll see.
But that's they find a win. This year, Mr. Latap, you go around.
Yeah, they go to overtime.
AK is in the house, but who is the head coach of the Kings, Mr. Latap?
Isn't it Jim Hiller?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You got
Glad he asked you and not me.
He got a hire last year. Who they fired for him?
Yeah, who was there before him? Yeah, I think you're right.
Just hired in Detroit.
Yeah. That's right.
Yep. McLennan was the head coach over there. So AK is in the house. Welcome, everybody. Thanks to be a part of the show tonight. Ottawa just scored a goal. Come back, bounce back at 2-1 now. After the trip of 1 goal. The captain, Kachuk, scored a goal. And Ottawa, big game again. The Detroit Red Wings tonight. That's happening. In NHL, we're going to give you more result about this. Honestly, we are here talking about the Montreal Canadiens. And We'll see uh, if something changes in the lineup. Jets winning 3-0, by the way, Mr. Top. So yeah, I'm sure you're very happy about that. Don't forget, everybody, to click on the likes. That would be great. Here we go. We are done with all this fun and confirmation about it. But before we go there, we're going to talk about a subject. I apologize for that one. A playoff spot in our top 11. Can you believe it? That's the big subject of the night. If you follow me, my video every single day out at 6 o'clock a.m. the morning. Wild card spot 8 for the Montreal Canadiens right now. Very interesting. If someone in that chat would said they would be there right now, understanding after this a really bad start of the season, you'll be an expert. You'll be like an amazing guy because not many people predict Montreal be what they had tonight, honestly. And last night they played a game against the Vancouver Canucks. They won by the score of 5-4 on overtime. We're going to recap game, and I want to give you a little bit more information what happening. Then you're going to talk about the game in the center tap, first of all. But it was a night of Lion Hutson, 3 points for Lane Hutson, lead the rookie with 30 points. Suzuki, game-winning goal as a power play, 3 points for the captain, 41 points and 40 games for the number 14. Caulfield, 22nd goal, 7 in NHL in the standing, and also this is on the streak of 4 game with 1 goal for Caulfield. Kirby Dack scored his 6th goal of the year. 4 in the last 6 games. He also the game-winning goal on the shootout against the Vegas Golden Knights. Cooley, impressive play à la Shea Weber last night. Power play, 2 goals. Big strength for the Montreal Canadiens. We know the last couple of games, Montreal does not have a lot of power play. And then the Habs came back for the 3rd time at the 3rd period to tie the game or to win the game in the last 3W, Vegas, Colorado, and the Vancouver Canucks. So give you a little bit more what happening. Of course, we can go deeper about stat, but I want to show this. So, Mr. Natap, what do you think? And the people in the chat, followed by Devin, what do you think about the performance of Montreal Canadiens? What pay you attention during that game? And between for the W for the Le Blanc Rouge?
Yeah, Coach. For me, really a couple things stood out. If I sit back and analyze this, and the two things is you really have to compliment them on the fact that after a long road trip, they came back home, different time zone, and many teams lose the first game back home when they've been on a long road trip like that. But you got to give them credit because I thought. They just got stronger as the evening went along, and they felt the confidence that they'd be able to rebound back, and that's really my second point, which is when they fell behind 3-1 in the game, with I think it was early in the second period at the time, and it looked like Vancouver was starting to bring the game to Montreal, which they were, and had started to outshoot Montreal. They turned it around. They got a nice goal by Gouli at about the midpoint of the second period, and I thought from there on, they dominated the third period and the rest of that second period. So it was a very good effort by everybody on the team, and you could tell that their confidence is starting to come through, and those are really the two things that stood out to me.
Good point about that, Mr. Devin.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that as well. I mean, the start to the game was really important. The fact, like you said, that they were on the road, 4 time zones. It's typically a bit of a trap game, a situation where teams will coming back home after a road trip like that. What stuck out to me, not only that they started well and that they played well despite all of that, it was who was the catalyst for that, right? Caden Gouli. What really struck me about last night's game was it was the young players on the team that were the catalyst. They were the ones that made things happen. After that third goal, when Vancouver went up 3-1, it was an opportunity for Montreal to sort of fold. And for a long period of time, that would have been what we would have expected to see them do. But again, it was the young players yesterday that carried the team. It was, we're seeing that, the passing that mantle a little bit, where the young players are getting the experience. They're the ones who are now being counted on to do the, Dooley said after the game, like, he did that consciously, right? He went out there to throw that big hit early in the game because he knew that it would give the team a little bit of energy and it would give them a boost. And when you have a 21-year-old 22-year-old, I think he is now, defenseman doing that, that's a veteran move. That's what you expect to hear from, Josh Anderson, or you expect to hear that from Brendan Gallagher. That's the kind of thing you see from them. So that's kind of what I really took from yesterday's game was, not only did they sort of start the game really strongly and play a very energetic game when they had every excuse not to, but it was the younger players that sort of motivated them and were the leaders last night. Obviously Suzuki, I think he's sort of in between a little bit. Maybe he's, a semi-veteran, but like Lane Hutson, Caden Gooley, Kirby Doc, like these were the guys who really were catalysts last night. And it's really nice to see those guys taking on, earlier on we would have talked about how they're learning from the older guys, and now they've obviously learned a number of those lessons, and they're taking them and they're becoming leaders themselves. And I think that's a really positive sign for the future of this team.
Go ahead, and after I want to add something.
No, I think we captured the majority of the good points there that we saw happening.
Yeah, honestly, a few people knocked the door. Welcome, everybody. Thanks to be a part of the show tonight. I love what I see from Montreal Canadiens. First of all, I always said that. I know I repeat all the time, same thing. But Montreal Canadiens, he tried to learn to win game. That's what they are trying to do, accomplish this year. And they are looking better and better on that area of the game, because you can see a team, whatever they're losing 3-1, and I was saying in the chat, they still have a chance to come back and to tie the game at some point, because they learn now to be patient, to not panicking, and just to see the difference between the beginning of the year and a team where they are today. It's a great example of the game last night. You have 2 goals and the 20-second span. And usually, at the beginning of the year, you see how many times they would just shut down. They would be down after that. They would just let it go the game. I see how many times we have a period of 4 goals, 5 goals. We lost 7-2, but you have a span of the game where after one period or after the game, this game was over already. Montreal was no believe on themselves. They not trust themselves. And you see now the transformation of the Montreal Canadiens right now, and the confidence they have, and they believe they can make whatever a game losing, they can turn around and they come back in the game. So I think for me, this is the best thing I learned from the Montreal Canadiens in the last 20, 25 games so far. This is a team right now are completely changed their mindset. They buy in, they are all in, and they executed better. This is a game last night. Usually they will lose at the beginning of the season. It was not a perfect game for them. It was not a perfect. They're struggling in the first period, and it's normal. They come back from, you can make excuse, but at the end of the day, that's the reality, right? So they really have a difficult time after the first 10 minutes of the game. After that, it was all about the Vancouver Canucks, and then they struggling at the beginning of the second period, but slowly populate. It's a game at the momentum, I believe. It's always back at the start of the game. Caden Coley destroy Lito Kremerki right there in the neutral zone. Then you have a goal to Caulfield. Now you can see a team looking great. And then you have a goal they gave by J.D. Miller. Miller have an amazing, great game, 4 points against the Montreal Canadiens. But again, the Montreal stay in the game. And then the goal of Caden Coley changed completely everything after that. And then you see Montreal bounce back during the third period. And Canucks tie the game. But Montreal still stay there. And they got a 1 point, and then an overtime power play goal. And that's happening again. So you can see whatever Montebo was not his best performance, right? You have an 800 save percentage. But this is the way where the Montreal Canadiens now can turn around an average game to finish with 2 points. And you never see them at the beginning of the season to do that. And that's for me, this is the biggest thing for the Montreal Canadiens right now and January. We'll see what is going to happen for the next 20 games, but that's what I feel about that. We hit now the half of the season, and I'll be honest with you, I will not see the Montreal Canadiens at the half of the season sit on the eighth at the Eastern Conference to have a spot at the wild card. Um, I was wrong, but still, that showed to me never, never, and I repeat again, never doubt about Martin Saint Louis. Never. Because all of you, many of you, treat him like a Pee Wee
Proven
coach,
winner.
right? I had to put him as a Pee Wee coach. Some of you to fire him, not few, many of you said we should fire Martin Saint Louis when the Montreal Canadiens was not there. Uh, we thought it was regression for the Montreal Canadiens after 15 games. I can go all the way like that. But he stick in the plan. And that's the reason why they are today, because the way Martin Saint Louis built that team slowly, properly, the right way. So we'll see what happening for the next 20 game. But that's why for me the Canucks game yesterday, you have a lot of things you can talk, you can go different things, but yeah, it's fun play you don't see on the score sheet. That's not appear there. I will give you an example. The goal to Gaydon Coley, Joel Armia, how he protect the puck and the wall, how he pick up the puck behind the net. The Uri Sakaski, after he got the puck on the wall, he protect the puck, turn around, he see Cole Caulfield score the goal. That's stuff like that. Alexandre Carrier last night. A lot of great play by Alexandre Carrier, and I can go all the way like that. So great W is if you want to stay in the mix, this is the game, guys. They have to get there. They have to stay in the mix. They have to get those W again, the Vancouver Canucks, because Washington, Dallas, Toronto,
It doesn't get
Dallas,
easier.
the next
It
couple of
doesn't get
games,
easier.
Tampa Bay Lightning. Listen, guys, this is not going to be easy for the Montreal Canadiens, honestly, and we'll see how they're going to look like. But just give you an idea, guys, the Montreal Canadiens right now are right there, right? And no, I apologize. This is another. This is yeah, they are. This is
The wild card.
the wild card situation. Montreal Canadiens are second, right? But look at this one, Devin. 7 points. 7 points spent between where they are, or from Tampa Bay Lightning all the way to the Buffalo. This is the last position in the conference right now. 7 points. So 7 point, guys, is imagine you do an R-Tap at Devin, a straight of 4W, and you're losing 4 games. What you can change right there, and it's hard in NHL, guys. Look about happening last night. 3 of the 5 games, a team got 1 point. Right?
That's right.
It's the point is so important about that. And look about the Pittsburgh Penguins. The reason they are there, the Pittsburgh Penguins, guys, 7 OT right there. You have also the Flyers, and you get the Columbus guy hanging there with 6, and then at the bottom, Islanders with 7. So sometime, Devin, when you look at something like that, you have to pay attention on the OT. Why? Because the OT change, the 1 point change a lot in the standing, but that reflect the team what they look like. So when you check about this, just for fun, Devin, if you look about this right now, or we go to, I'm going to take a note. Here we go. I'm going to open my bubble, and after,
Your Bible. There we go.
and I will go to
I'm
select
about to be
this, guys.
about to be tested.
We are January
7.
7. With me, it's 8. So it's
8,
7,
that's right.
11. I want you, Devin, and NRT people in the chat. Who will be the 2 team and the wild card at the end of the year from tonight?
Okay. Can I say something before that?
Yep.
You know Coach, that I hate making predictions, and I've told you that before. And here's the reason why. So whenever people said to me at the beginning of the year, when they said, "Oh, the Canadiens," everyone who was in a Canadiens fan said, "Oh, the Canadiens are going to finish in the bottom of the Atlantic," right? And you would say, "Well, and then they would say to you, "Well, who's going to finish worse than them? Like, who's going to take a step backwards?" And the reality is that we don't know. We never know. Who in a million years would have dreamt that the New York Rangers would be there? Right? Like, who would have dreamt that the Rangers would have taken a step back like that? Who would have dreamt that Washington would be leading the conference? So when people ask you these things at the beginning of the year, I mean, yeah, you can make a guess and whatever, but all it is a guess. Like, we don't know. So preface this by saying it's purely a guess. I will say that the two teams that will be in the wild card at the end of this season will be Ottawa and Tampa Bay, or Ottawa and Boston, maybe, with Tampa Bay moving up. But I'll say Ottawa and Boston.
Interesting about that. A lot of people put some. That's that. Mitch Bellin go with Ottawa, Pittsburgh. For Mitch, and our top.
Yeah, I gotta believe Tampa will definitely stay in that mix right there. They might even, move up. As you said, they can easily jump over Boston at some point. I don't like the direction that Boston's going right now. So I will say Tampa Bay, and then it's just a crapshoot. It can be any one of these. I mean, I tend to agree. I think in terms of talent, Ottawa has a lot of solid talent there, but with it all depends on how long Allmark will be out of the lineup. Because if they start to fall behind 4 or 5 points from where they are now, it's going to be. It's not so much. We're saying there's 7 points there, coach, between Buffalo and Tampa Bay. But the fact is, if you look at Buffalo, it's not the 7 points. It's the fact that they have to jump ahead of 6, 7, 8 teams there before they get there. And the way the NHL awards points with the extra point that they get going into overtime, it becomes extremely difficult and challenging to try to get to the position you want, because you might get a couple teams ahead of you that are losing, but then a couple of others start going on a winning streak. And so I think it's imperative that they try to stay in, like, if you're looking at this list, that whoever it is, that you stay within the top 5 of these wild card teams, because that's doable. The bottom 5, it'll be extremely challenging. So I'm going to take Tampa and Ottawa, but that second one can go to anyone. The only one I feel more secure about is Tampa.
ADP, Buffalo cannot finish 7 and 8. You have to pick two teams, ADP. I know you love the Sabres, but you cannot put them on the two spot in the playoff. They never make the playoff for the 14 years. Now you expect them to be in the playoff two times in the same year. So you can have to give me a second team. And then PLW is the smartest guy in the chat. Before he said put the Rangers, now he said the New York and the Tampa Bay Lightning. So he can get the Rangers, can get the Islanders. He can.
New York won't be there.
So he's going to go with the New York Rangers, PLW, about that one over there. So, but this is honestly, I would say Tampa Bay Lightning is going to go in there. And like you said in our tab, David, if it's not them, Boston will be there. So I think that will be the right way there. But to surprise Luciano and to everybody in the chat, have to
Toronto.
go with it. I have to go with them. The Pittsburgh Penguins. I have to go on that one. On this one. When you have a Sidney Crosby, you never know what could happen. Now they're missing Malkin. Now he's hurt. But I will go a long prediction right there. The Pittsburgh Penguins to get on the spot right there. So Nicolas de Gobibano, welcome in the house. Thanks to be a part of the show tonight. So that's my happening, guys, for the prediction. If we have more people going to add this, Gary Conway is in the house. Welcome back, Gary. It was a bit fun we changed the subject a little bit, but I think it was a good thing to do that. This is already marker right there on my Bible, so we'll see what's happening. Um, what we do at the end of the event, we go with the suit out, we go with the obscure, and we go at the office. So 1, 2, 3, Devin, you're the first one there.
Wow. Stood out last night. I'll leave a little meat on the bone for Entertap, and I'll say Lane Hutson. No, sorry. I'll leave a little meat on the bone, and I'll say Caden Gooley for stood out. For obscure, Coach, I think you hit on it. I'm going to say Yoel Armia. I thought he had a really good game last night. I think the whole team played really well, and bang on the boards, like his ability to retrieve pucks and win those battles. He's using his big size for I won't say for a change, but he really stood out to me yesterday as a guy who now Vancouver. I don't know how much of a fight they were putting up, but at the same time, it was nice to see him doing all of that. At the office. Who's at the office?
You can send nobody.
Yeah, I don't want to because it's a cop out. I'm not gonna, I'm going to say, and I don't think he really deserves it, but there were a couple, Sam Montembeault maybe.
Not a bad choice.
I thought in particular on the goal, the DeBrusque goal, he was really slow getting across. And I thought, again, it's a very marginal at the office, but I thought, he could have played better. And especially when you've got Dobesh breathing down your neck. And again, I don't think it's anywhere close to a situation where his job is in jeopardy, but again, he allowed 4 goals.
A lot of people put Montembeault, by the way, in the chat, Devin, but I think you're right about this. I think, I wish he can, he make maybe a good save, but I think he should make the bigger save to keep the Montreal Canadiens to win on the regular time last night. Cannot blame him for that game, honestly. Everybody have a bad game sometime. I think last night, I think he felt I see him feel tired last night. That's what I see from him. Usually he tried the puck very well. He moved quicker, but last night he was struggled during the game. Like he have to give him. He was resilient to stay in the game, right? He make a couple of good saves, but last night is the first time I see him tired. And look about this, guys. He started 10 games straight. He won in Tampa Bay Lightning. After that, after the performance of Tobesh, but look after that, he lost against Chicago, and last night he was shaky also. So I think for me, it's time to have a good backup number 2 that will helping him to take a couple of rests. If I was Montreal, I would start Tobesh Friday night to give an extra day off to Montembeault and use Montembeault Saturday night to get him to a little bit recovery. And that's what I believe about Montembeault. So a good choice, Devin, about that. So, Mr. Tap, you can go with the same player, Mr. Tap. We understand that.
Yeah, I'm going to start backwards. At the office, I had him immediately in mind. Not because he was horrible, but I thought there were a couple of shots that, especially at the beginning of the second period, that he could have had. Even in a victorious situation, he's got an .800 saving percentage. Not something great, but by the same token, he did make a couple of good saves at other times that kind of helped out the team a little bit. But this was mostly on the Canadian defense and forwards that found it within them to sort of rebound from that 3-1 deficit. So Monte at the office stood out for me. It was really a toss-up between 2 people in my eyes. I thought we're slowly and gradually, and every single game that goes by, we're starting to see the emergence, I think, of a future superstar in Lane Hutson. He's now taken over the rookie point scoring championship, and he's going to make a great case for himself to get that Calder Trophy. Yesterday, he took control of the game at key times. I mean, he got 2 assists. He got a goal and 2 assists, but I mean, he could have easily had about 5 assists in that game because he set up about 3 players that were wide open, and I don't know how they missed the puck, off of that cross pass in front of the net, and they either fanned on the shot or missed the net or didn't get a good shot away. But he was doing fantastic. So it was between Hutson for me, and also I would give a close second to Nick Suzuki, who came up with 3 points himself yesterday. I mean, this guy, every time he's doubted, he comes up with a big game and just shows everybody exactly what he's made up of. Right now, when you look at a lot of times people say, well, you know what, he's not really a first line centerman. Well, guess what? Like right now, he stands of all the first line centermen in the NHL, he stands 10th in scoring, and his defensive game has improved. I think he does things very quietly, and that's why sometimes he's overlooked. I think we should put an end to the talk. Is he a first line centerman or is he a second line centerman? He's definitely a first line centerman, and if he ends up being a second line centerman on Montreal, I say Montreal is going to be very close to winning a Stanley Cup because I'd love to see who the first line centerman is going to be. So I'll give it to Hutson, but a close second to Suzuki. And my obscure, again, a close one, but I'm going to go with Jaden Struble. I thought he had 5 or 6 hits in that game.
Great call.
You're starting to see, like, to me, what this is showing these last 3 games that Savard hasn't been there. It's shown that you know what, they can come together as a defensive core. Like we keep saying we're going to miss Savard if he gets traded, and he's a great person to have around. I don't doubt that for a second. But right now, the young core is just showing that give us a chance, and you see that we can handle the duties, and that's exactly what we're seeing. And when Jaden first came into the lineup after missing, I think it was 8 or 9 games, or maybe even more, he had a bit of a tough return. But the last 2 games, especially yesterday, I mean, we talk about the Gooley hit, but those 5 hits that Struble put on players, like, they're waking up this morning with soreness on their body. Like he was very much present, didn't make any mistakes. Got rid of the puck as soon as he got it. It just was very responsible defensively. So I'll go with Jaden Struble as my obscure.
Great call.
And
That's a great call.
I want to welcome Kenneth. Welcome back, Kenneth. Nicholas. We have Tony, Zev Lacab, many others. Guys, click on the like. Joe Velino scored a goal. Tied the game 2-2 against Ottawa Senator. At the office, Marco. Marco, not that. At the office.
Oh, at the office, Monty. I had Montebo.
Okay, sound good to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, not easy, guys, stood out, honestly, because you have many of them last night. Because Ken and Coley have an amazing, great game for me. But I have to go with Lane Hutson. Last night, I believe Lane Hutson, it was his first game of the year. He was get hit all the game. Vancouver was running after him. And you know what? That's never changed him at all. He's seen the game. He had his best game of the year with 3 points. So that give you, for me, this is a great example who is really Lane Hutson. So I will go there. But he said, following by Caden Coley. My obscure player, guy, I'm going to surprise. I know you don't like it. I change the rules. I run the show, so I can change the rules and all stuff, right?
Of course.
Okay, so I'm going with 2 players, and I will tell you why. I'm surprised everybody here. Kirby Duck and Alex Newhook.
Oh, I got one of those 2 right.
Okay, I will tell you the reason why. They struggled since the beginning of the season, guys. They are -11, -20, whatever they've been there, right? Last night, at 5 versus 5, until 53 minutes, they played 53 minutes during the game. At 5 versus 5, no opponent players for the Vancouver Canucks have a shot on the net. for them. Unfortunately, he was on the ice when they scored the goal, the four at the Vancouver Canucks. But my point behind that is like, and you know what, guys? And Devin and Artap, you follow Montreal so much. It's not easy when you have a Pesada, a Evans, a Suzuki, a Caulfield, an Inman, an Armia, changing you constantly a winger during the game, right? The chemistry is getting loose. But again, I had to mention that for the performance last night for that second line. And I'm going to give you guys a couple of information the next couple of minutes about all the four lines. But I think I would go with them for them. And then at the office, guys, I think I agree with you. Montembeau, um, I think I would bring at the office, but I would bring a Thai woman in the office with Martin St. Louis. And I said, guys, do a massage right now to Montembeau. Just relax his muscle. Just take care about that. And we'll see about the happy end at the end. But my story here is just about a good massage for the Thai woman, and after that we're helping Montembeau to rebound next weekend.
Do you remember, Coach? Coach, do you remember Ted Teven?
I'm sorry,
Coach. Do you remember? Do you remember Ted Teven? He used to be on the radio in Montreal.
Yeah.
And he'd get really, really mad. Like he'd take callers and he'd get really, really, really mad, and he'd like start screaming at the caller, and then the air would go completely dead, and then like he'd have this recording of this woman's voice would come on and be like, Ted, let me rub your shoulders, just relax. And that's what I was just picturing when you described that Montembeau. Bring him in the office, bring a Thai massage, just relax, Ted. Anyways, Ted Teven was a legend for all those of you who aren't old enough to remember him. But when I was younger, I used to listen to him on the late night radio in Montreal all the time. He was spectacularly entertaining.
The show is send an after back to the menu. Yeah, but his next show is in February, Luciano. So we have to wait until then for that one. But maybe he have a recliner chair in our tap in the office of Martin St. Louis. So that would maybe helping them.
That belongs to Devin.
That's the reason behind
the
that.
Full Monty massage. Steve G says
Jordan
the full
is
Monty
in the house.
massage.
Welcome back, Jordan. Welcome back in the house.
And quickly, we're off the tracks.
Thanks for being part of the show. We talk about him, guys. Kenan Coley, the stud. Because last night it was remind us, guys, honestly, the Shea Bird. The hit at the beginning of the game, this is the kind. And that hit helped the teammate on the bench, right? And you can see after that, Jaden Struggle have a good game last night. He struggled when he come back. The first game against Chicago, I believe. And then since that, he's getting a little bit better and better. But he continues. You see yesterday, Anderson finished his check. And you can see right the reason. Kenan Coley, guys, is on the ice again, opening best player constantly with Alex Carrier. And that duo, it's maybe the best duo pairing for the Montreal Canadiens right now, game after game. Now, you can see Madison, Hutson, but they bring another dimension of the game. So, to see Carrier and goalie every night, and I'm telling you right now, not many people can go on the side of Kenan Coley. Send him Montreal again, put him on the left side of this game. You can see the Kenan Coley, and I'm telling you right now, you not see again yet the best of Kenan Coley in NHL. He's about 2-3 years before he become a solid defenseman. I know it's not maybe like it, but at the Peter Angelo and NHL, a guy can play a ton of good minutes and can play against any player for the best team, the opening team. And this is what Kenan Coley is going to bring for the Montreal Canadiens. And now I see him become a defenseman, guys, consider a top defenseman, first pairing in NHL. Now he played with Alex Carrier, but I think Montreal will need to step up more to get a player like him over Alex Carrier. We'll see what he look like in the future, David Rebacker. or if Montreal can get another right defenseman at the level at Caden Coley, that defensive would be so much better. But for me, it's impressive what Caden Coley gave to us so far in the last couple of games for the Montreal Canadiens. So I would like to hear from you, Devin, about the performance of Coley.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of factors that go into it, and I mean, obviously the addition of Carrier, him being able to move over to the left side, they've obviously gelled together. They play well together. What I've always liked about what I've always liked about Caden Gooley's game is how patient it is. Right, he's never, he's kind of different than Arbor Jackeye in that sense. Arbor Jackeye obviously has become much better, and but early on, Arbor Jackeye looked very impatient on the ice. He was always, it was like he was actively looking for big hits, and he was actively looking for opportunities to do this or opportunities to make a pass, or he didn't let the game come to him. And what I've always loved about Caden Gooley's game is he allows the game to come to him. He doesn't force it. And as he becomes more comfortable in his skin and more comfortable in the game and with the speed of the game, and he's now, the game is coming to him, and he's taking advantage of the opportunities that are presented to him. If you heard him interviewed after the game, he wanted to make that hit early in the game to set the tone, but he didn't. He knew that the opportunity would come to him. He didn't have to go out sort of look for it. And young players can often end up getting in trouble in situations like that, right? If you go on the ice thinking, oh, I've got to make a big hit early in this game, you could take a penalty, you could end up hitting a guy in the head by mistake, but Caden Gooley has always been so patient, and like you said, as he gets better, as he grows, I think it was you, coach, that just said it, in 2 or 3 years, what we're going to see from this kid is going to be amazing. Like he's getting better all the time. I think his offensive game will start to come around a little bit more once he gets more comfortable with the defensive aspect of his game, and he's been amazing. Like he's young. He's still only 22. I think he's almost 23. But he's just he's so patient with his game. And he's so mild mannered when you see him off the ice. You don't think a little blonde. He's little. I mean, he's little to me, but he's probably not little on the ice. But he just seems like such a soft spoken guy. And then to see him just be and again, I didn't watch him play in junior, but apparently that was his game in junior. He was a mean. What does Pierre McGuire always say? He was a mean piece of work, right? And I can't wait to see that from him. I can't wait to see that on a more regular basis. And maybe paired, like you say, coach, with David Reinbacher down the road, maybe with Logan Mailloux. I know we're kind of down on Mailloux right now, but I think it's entirely possible that he still can make it. And I think it bodes very well. Again, we talk at length about Lane Hutson and what he can become in the next few years, but I think maybe we should start talking a little bit about what Caden Gooley might become in a few years as well, as far as being a top defenseman in the NHL.
In our top.
Yeah, I think we're seeing what we're all saying about the entire defensive core is we're starting to see the emergence and the development, and more importantly, the maturity of the entire group. Right, they're very comfortable now playing with each other, and I think that trade with Barron and Carrier really helped to stabilize that. And like the pairings right now, they're solid. Gooley's back on the left side where he belongs, and we're starting to see that he feels more comfortable being there as well. And yesterday we even saw, Jackeye being on the right side is he's handling it fairly well. He hasn't made any significant errors, which allows Struble to play on the left. And that's solid for them as well. That they made a very good third pairing as well. So, and more importantly, we're starting to see that organic emergence of Hutson, right? Like he's taking over. Martin St. Louis, like we questioned it at the beginning of the year. Why is he playing Matheson so much? And Hutson should be doing the power play number one and quarterbacking it. And I think he had this in his mind the entire time. But you don't want to put a young player that's just in the league in that kind of position right away. It sort of organically happened, and now he's there. And did you notice in the overtime, who did they start? Lane Hutson, right? And that ensures Like you give them the skating space with guys like Caulfield and Suzuki and so on. And these guys, if they get a break, they're going to capitalize right away. And we saw that.
Great point about that. You know what? I already talked about Caulfield, about Cody, but I will reply for some of what your comment you said, David, in our tap. You know what happening right now? They with the performance of Cody, Carrier, Hudson, and Madison. I think Madison, the last couple of games, guys, he played
Been much
better.
more solid.
He
Less high
played better with the combine. Yeah. Then after that, you think about the Jekai progression this season. But what you have to pay attention more, guys, we play right now without Savard, and the Montreal Canadiens are not missing
They're
Savard,
winning.
right?
Exactly.
And my point behind that is because we have Mayu, we have Engstrom, we have Strobel, and we have Rebecca. So I mentioned four names right there. My point behind that, they are four to take the spot of Savard. And what I want to also bring is at some point, I don't think Montreal Canadiens need a David Savard in the future. I think we need to transition and to open a spot. And I think we can hang in there with a six defenseman, with a rookie or a player with less experience or David Savard. Now, if David Savard wants to stay here as a seventh defenseman, no problem with that at X dollar for 1 year contract. That's the reason I said I would not sign him for 2 years, only 1 year. Now he said, yes, you always need experienced goalies, defensemen. You need, I understand that, but you don't need anymore a David Savard night after night, night after night. And I think you can see those. Now it's only, a 10 game, I would say to you guys, well, maybe 5 game without Savard. But I think this is the way I see for the Montreal Canadiens. At some point, you cannot keep everybody in the spot. That would be slowly. I believe Eneman take the spot of Joan Armia next season. I understand what Joan Armia bring on the table, but we need to improve the skill and the talent at the middle term in our top event.
Yes.
I think this is what I'm looking for the Montreal Canadiens in the next 2 years. That's what I said. Who do you keep? Who you don't keep? And I think that's organically that show this.
Would you consider rotating Struble and Savard? Would you think of sort of doing with Struble and Savard what you were doing, what they were doing earlier with Struble and Barron?
Yeah, but
maybe
my
not
point
one
behind
for one, but
yes, next season
for the short term.
you have to open the sixth spot
Yes.
for a Montreal Canadian rookie or a pipeline prospect. You have Rebecca,
Yeah,
you have
absolutely.
Mayu, you have Engstrom, and you have Strobel. That's my fourth choice.
Yeah.
Now, you
I
keep
just mean for the rest
Savard
of this year.
around, even. Yeah, you keep Savard around for sure, right? If you want to stay here at locales, but I don't want him to be in my top six. I don't want him to be.
No.
I want him to play a role like Peseta behind that. And injury happen a lot, and I think that will be okay with me. But I want to keep that spot now for a young player, defenseman for the Montreal Canadiens. But yes, keep him around, and I have no problem with that part.
He'll be gone, I'm
Yeah,
afraid.
no, I just mean for the rest of this year, right? I mean, like, if until the deadline or until whenever, you rotate, Struble, because I think that Struble would suffer a lot more by sitting on the bench for 4, 6, 7, 8 games in a row than Savard would. You know what I mean? Like it's going to stunt Struble's growth, greater than I think it will hurt David Savard if because they, I guess, it's just to me, Struble is the valuable asset in that, he's a younger player, he's a prospect, he's in the pipeline, and I just wonder about, getting him in the lineup a little bit more.
Good news for Montreal Canadiens. The first game is over. The Oilers beat the Boston Bruins 4-0 tonight. Adam and Renke have 2 goals for the Oilers. Meanwhile, the Wild 4-3 for the Blues. But the Pittsburgh Penguins out 3-3. Blue Jackets just scored a goal at 2 minutes at the end of the game, and the Rangers scored a goal lead 4-3 in after. But what
No,
happening?
Dallas.
Dallas
Dallas
scored a
just
goal
scored.
again. So Dallas tied the game 4-4 with 3 minutes to go remaining. Still 2-2 Senator and the Detroit Red Wings at that moment. 2-1, good game between the Lightning and the Carolina Hurricane, like they do all the time. So Flyers from Toronto 2-2. A lot of tie game. We don't like it because you don't want to have a game of 3 point. So that
Yeah.
one. So I just want to sharing this what's going on. I'm sure RJ is going to give us a little bit more information about that. Let's move on, guys. The second line,
Better.
last 10 game, 10 goal, 4 assists, 14 point. This is where the Montreal Canadiens looking better, guys. Or we don't talk about this. Is the new change in the lineup for the 4 line for the Montreal Canadiens. So what I did, guys, I gave you a little bit more information there about the line. The last 10 game, the first line have 8 goals, 21 assists, 29 points. The second line, 9 goals, 4 assists at 13 points. And then we have 4 goals, 6 assists, 10 points for the third line. And then we have 12 goals, 11 assists, guys, for the 4 line, 23 points for that line. So it's interesting when you look about those information about that. And I put the sending over that because I think that's the reason why the Montreal are there. But you have it now. The third line become the last the last line with the less point for the Montreal Canadiens. The reason behind that, of course, I think at some point I was thinking to put on the office they were wrecked last night, but I think that line is good on the forechecking, but the creativity of the opportunity is not there. But it still play a role for the Montreal Canadiens, of course. But this is what we got. So when you see that in our top, what this tell you?
Well, it's what we had hoped for in the sense that you have more balanced lines. The second line has come on, and as you can see there, 13 points in the last 10 games is not too bad. It's still not where it probably should be, but let's not forget also Line has not been there for 3 or 4 games now, 3 I think. So that could contribute as well. So again, you're not getting that same stability with the second line, and I think Marty has done a great job of trying to not disrupt the lines that have been doing very well, especially that fourth line, and keeping Slafkovsky on the first line and keeping those 2 lines definitely stable. So he's inserted different players in that second line to sort of complement or take over for the absence of Line there. So to me, it's a good sign that they're rolling with 4 lines and they're doing their job. And again, I still anticipate the second line to improve. And once they do, it's going to be a much more equal, balanced offense for Montreal that can compete and take advantage of teams that don't have strong third and fourth lines.
Good point, Nicholas. Devin, what do you think about that?
I agree with Enertap. The second line, I think it's early to judge them at this point. We're seeing Doc and Newhook kind of come around of late. They've played their last 3 games with Line. He, it doesn't have his feet completely under him either. So I think you'll see the numbers from that second line grow. The reality is that the third and the fourth line are kind of interchangeable at this point, really. I mean, they're only fourth line in name. I mean, seeing your fourth line put up 3 points, I think there's not a team in the NHL that wouldn't go for that. So I think you will see that start to even out. If you had the first line with 30 points, and then the second line was somewhere in the low 20s, then I think that would be where you want to be. But again, I think that the fourth line, so-called fourth line, is kind of picking up the slack a little bit from the second line, which is what's making it perfectly acceptable. But I think we're going to start seeing if Doc and Newhook are what we're seeing from them the last few games, and you add Laine back into the mix, I think you're going to see that line kind of take off here in the next little while. I mean, obviously nothing's guaranteed, but I would expect to see those numbers improve. So I think that would, if the first line's got 29 points and the second line's got low 20s, and then your third and fourth line are sort of where they are right now. I mean, obviously, I don't think the fourth line is going to continue at the pace of 23 points. But if they can even be 15 or so, and then you get let's say you get 25 or 30 points between your third and fourth, I think you're doing fine. I think you're doing great.
Coach, that fourth line, it must rank in the top, I would say 5 or 6 in the NHL right now in terms of points. Would you say? I haven't checked, but I mean, we're getting great production out of them.
Well, they are number 1 in the NHL for the performance.
Oh, number 1,
right?
Beautiful.
For the fourth line. I think for me, they are the third line. The fourth line now is more about the Warwick Anderson and Gallagher, in my opinion.
Gallagher.
The way the way he does his game, is controlled his game. But look, this is for me on that graphic. It was to show to you guys the strength for the second line. And when you have 10 goal, 9 goal from them, that changed completely. At the beginning of the season, you have 5 goal, no assist for Newhook, and then after that you have 1 goal for Kirby Dak. And before Patrick Laine, we don't have no goal. So that's changed completely the way the Montreal can play right now, and that's helping the Montreal at long term, if you can see that way. So
who won?
Michkov and Lawton just got taken off the ice. They both ran into each other head against head.
Oh boy!
Lawton's gone to the dressing room, and Michkov looks like he's getting fixed up on the bench, stitches or something.
Wow.
They ran like literally face into face.
There you go.
Wow. Michkov looks like.
The next thing is about Lane Hutson, the playmaker. Hutson is very impressive, honestly. Look, he's right there right now. He lead the rookie, and you want to tell me he was going to be there in front of Michkov and Sidney Bruny? Yes, Sidney Bruny played 7 games less. Still, Lane Hutson lead on the number of assists. He is on the top 10 on the categories point and assists and defenseman. And I think this is the reason where they are right now. But what is the best thing about Lane Hutson in our top? You can see in the last since the beginning of the season.
Oh my gosh, it's his patience, it's his ability to make players around him better. It's his maturity. Like you look at him, nothing phases him. You said it earlier, Coach. I mean, he was hit left and right yesterday in that game. And what does he do? He produces 3 points, and he could have had a ton of extra points as well. Like I said earlier, if some players hadn't missed relatively great setups, he's just dynamic. He's taken over the first power play unit. He's very good quarterback there. He's on the ice first when it comes to the overtime. Like he's a guy that will continue to grow in confidence. And once you surround him with a couple of more players from through their pipeline, and I'm thinking of guys like Demidov and Hage when he's ready. This guy, his points will skyrocket as well. But when we look at that Calder Trophy race, I mean, the other thing we can't lose sight of is the fact that he's doing this as a defenseman. He's the only one on that list that's a defenseman, which is extremely hard to do. So you got to give him a lot of credit. He's come a long way, and they did it very slowly and intentionally as well in terms of making sure that he met up with success along the way.
Before you answer, Devin, if you don't mind, Pittsburgh Blue Jacket overtime. Overtime, Detroit Red Wings versus Ottawa, and overtime, the Star the Rangers. So, whatever happening,
There's
guys,
the parity.
you have right now 7 teams on the Eastern Conference are going to 1 point tonight. This is why the
Yeah,
reason it's difficult to be on that race of the on the mixer. But it is what it is. So Hudson will add the other if the end of the time. Devin,
I mean, I love his brain. I just love his brain, and it's not just on the ice; it's off the ice. It's the ability that he seems to have to take every experience that comes his way and turn it into a positive, whether it's a good experience or a bad experience. He somehow finds a way to incorporate it into his game and make it, you know, allow it to improve his game. It's almost like after every game, it's almost like he goes and puts himself inside of a computer and reprograms himself to change all the bad things that happen. And it's amazing at his age. We talk about him leading the scoring race for rookies, but he's tied for sixth the entire NHL for defensemen. Like he's
yeah,
at 20 years old, he's got the same number of points as Adam Fox, Evan Bouchard, Victor Hedman, Rasmus Dahlin. This is whose company he's in at 20 years old, and he just continues to get better and better and better. Like if you watch a video of him in his first game of the season and watch him now, the evolution is extraordinary. He's obviously been able to continue at his pace with the offense, but he's improved his defense enormously. Like we've talked about it before, and I saw Marco mention it in the chat a minute ago. Like he's a -7 right now, but he's a -8 with an empty net. So he's been on the ice for seven empty net goals against, and he's been on the ice for another time where the other team had their net empty and they scored a goal. So 8 of his minuses are occurred with an empty net. So he's basically been an even player this year. So this idea that he's not going to be able to play in the NHL as a defenseman because he's not big enough, or I mean, if you guys remember in the summer, people were talking, oh, he's going to be a power play specialist, right? Like it just seems absurd to even think that kind of stuff right now. And what really amazes me about him, obviously you can be dazzled by what he does on the ice, and it is incredible to watch. But to me, it's more about his ability just to understand the game, to understand. Like I would literally be able to sit and talk to him about, how he became the hockey player he is for hours. If by some miracle we could get him to join our show one night, like you could literally talk to him for hours about, how did you develop this and how did you, learn how to do that, and it's just it really really fascinates me to watch a guy like that. And just see how smart and how committed he is to learning the game and becoming a better player. And I've said it before, I say it all the time. I did a bit of a poll on my I'll just really quickly. I did a little bit of a poll on my Blue Sky the other day about whether or not people would rather win the Stanley Cup or whether they're more attached to the players on the team. And for me, I'm really I want to see these guys develop. Obviously everybody wants to see the Canadiens win the Stanley Cup, but I'm almost as excited to see what Lane Hutson's going to become in 10 years from now. Like, are we looking at the next great one? I mean, maybe that's hyperbole, but I'm really excited to see, Demidov. I'm excited to see Goulet. I'm excited to see, Hutson. I'm excited to see Dobish. I'm excited to see Fowler. Like these, that to me is almost as exciting as winning the cup. And obviously in a perfect world, will develop to being a team that will win the Stanley Cup. But to me, that's almost as important, and I'm really excited about it.
yeah. If you look at the other players that are also running for the Calder Trophy, they're all negatives as well. So I mean, you can't hold that -9 or -7, whatever Hudson's at now against them. He's also got the greatest amount of ice time as well amongst those players. So there's a lot of
only got one goal.
working in it.
11 or 12 games.
Yeah. And the Dallas Stars win the game.
Patrick Kane, overtime goal, power play goal
for Detroit.
Yeah. So we have the Dallas Stars beat the Rangers, get 1 point. Detroit 2 point. Ottawa 1 point.
This is the overtime night of all games. The other games are also tied: Carolina and Tampa Bay, Toronto and Philadelphia.
That's right.
Yeah, it's
We're
fun
giving
night.
away points like candies. Just give away a point.
It's
There you
fun
go.
night. Just conclude Lane Hudson, guys. I just want to add one more thing. Um, the key for the Montreal Canadiens at long term is to find him a partner fit with Lane Hudson as the defenseman. And when I said that, you can see what you know Devin Days bring for Kel McCarr. You can see what Ryan Lindgren bring for Adam Fox. What Slavin bring to in the past was Brent Burns, but you can see my point behind that is like to Lane Hudson to become again better and better and to play at the next level. I think he would need to find a pairing defenseman with him to match up very well Lane Hudson. Lane Hudson is, I think, Devin, you're absolutely right. The brain, like, it's like a computer, right? Um, the way Lane Hudson learn, the way Lane Hudson think, the way he see the game, the way he's anticipate, read the play constantly is amazing. And I think that's Lane Hudson going to be a star in NHL one day because the way he develop in NHL, and it would take a little bit longer time. But this guys, look what he's doing right now is first 42 game in NHL maybe, and the way he produce and the way he make the players around him better. And imagine when he's going to be with players more talented around him. So
Yeah.
for me, this is a big chance
Oh,
for Lane Hudson a long term for the Montreal Canadiens. So Columbus Blue Jackets guys win the game. No, they not win.
Mm.
Uh,
and when the players get used to Lane Hudson as well, right? Like we're seeing when we talked about it earlier. He could have had 5 assists last night. He's setting up guys who just can't finish because they're not expect. Like I've compared it, and maybe I'll compare it to when Magic Johnson started playing with the LA Lakers, right? Like guys were taking passes off the face because they weren't expecting them. Like he was, making behind the back passes and all this crazy stuff, and nobody was expecting it. And I think that's happening with Hudson. Like he's doing things that his line mates aren't anticipating. Eventually, they'll get used to him as well. Like he's getting used to them, but they'll get used to him as well. And when that happens, I think you're going to see the floodgates open up because every night we're seeing 2 or 3 scoring opportunities that just don't get completed because the players are either not anticipating it or they're not ready for it. And that'll change. And again, the better players will make that better as well.
that's the reason now you can see with the line more balanced, right? And you can see the pairing defenseman more balanced, Devin and up top. You can see now Hudson all the time with the second line or the first line on the ice. So, because how many times Christian Devorak have an opportunity to score a goal when he get a pass for Lane Hudson and he's not ready at all. Like he don't expect that one over there. So again, Lane Hudson could be something to follow up in the next couple of years with the Montreal Canadiens. And I can't wait for the negotiation of the contract of Lane Hudson. Here we're already struggling with the with the contract of Jake Evans. Imagine that one over there. The Blue Jacket beat guys
Win.
the Pittsburgh Penguins tonight. So Pittsburgh lost a point right there. So that helping my situation right now for my prediction. But we'll see what happening.
We could have told you that, Coach.
I don't
You
know.
haven't learned your lesson with Pittsburgh.
I want to do it. I want to see Crosby versus
One more
Ovechkin and the playoff.
You're still living in the past.
You know what the beauty of that one is?
Yeah, they're
Ovechkin beat the record at the playoff when Sidney Crosby be on the ice. You talk about
well.
moment
We're
historic,
only
right?
right.
You talk about a moment historic, right? Two players build their career together, and that's happening.
yeah.
I don't know. I think for Hollywood story, guys, I already predict the future tonight. Let me take this at the Bible. January 7,
Put it in the
coach put Crosby on the ice with Ovechkin in our top when he's going to get
how
beat
about
that Wayne Gretzky about that. But
how
anyway,
about
guys,
how about Crosby scores the winning goal for Team Canada at the Four Nations.
yeah, that's something could happen there. But Dimitrov, player of the week for the Montreal for the KHL this week. Dimitrov continues to performing, guys. What a great week for Dimitrov. And 2 games, 3 goals, 2 assists, 5 points, 9 shots on the net with +3, 2 hits, 2 takeaway, a play average of 16.39. Look, the Dimitrov guys is getting just better and better and better. More he play, more he produce, and more confident he is. Playing the first line right now. He return on the ice, guys, tomorrow at 9 o'clock a.m. You can follow him. He can play a good team, the team as Spartak, and we'll see what he look like. He's on the straight. We have a 6 game straight with 1 goal. He is right now a 4 straight game, 4 games straight with multiple point for Dimitrov, 11 point. Dimitrov, guys, transform Sandy, so can use. I don't know what can use told him, honestly, behind the door. But Rothenberg, guys, cannot sit him on the bench because he's the reason they won the team SKA. And look, we have to mention his performance or even Dimitrov. 30 points, I believe, in 40 game. And he's just getting better and better and better for Dimitrov. And for me, it's how he's improved at the beginning of the season. For me, this is the best thing about Dimitrov. And I feel like he's more faster, more he get confidence. He show up, guys. He make plays sometimes. It even just explain to us. Hutson makes some play and the other player are not ready. Dimitrov sometimes makes some play and his teammate don't expect the pass of Dimitrov. His vision of passing the puck is Dimitrov is excellent right now. It's not perfect, but 18 years old right now to perform that way at the KHL is not easy. And we'll see what it will be, the next thing for him. But right now, have a great, his best time, the best hockey in the KHL in the last 6-7 games for Dimitrov. And the reason behind that, right now, he have the confidence of his coach, Rothenberg. But you never know with Rothenberg, guys. For me, I watch Dimitrov. I'm watching Rothenberg a lot because his decision are really strange, and I can wait to see Tempo Bilakne score a goal, guy, at 44 seconds at the end of the game. Wow, the Tempo Bilakne.
You think Lane Hutson's brain would be fascinating to study? Imagine trying to study Roman Rottenberg's brain. That would be fascinating to study.
I wouldn't be surprised if he puts him in net for 1 game.
Now, you know what? The new thing in the KHL and the NHL, we have iPad on the bench. Now, in the KHL, the player carry on the phone on the ice to see what's going on. So if you have a phone call, it would be interesting. I just want to open the door, guys.
What a difference.
You know what I noticed, Coach, just quickly, as a rule in the KHL the other that I noticed, probably noticed it too. If you start a period on the power play, so if the other team takes a penalty that carries over into the next period, the opening face-off of the next period happens in the team that's penalized zone. So, like if Montreal had a power play at the end of the first period that went into the second period, the opening face-off of the second period would occur in the opposing team zone. I noticed that the other day. Pretty neat.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's happening on the KHL.
What a difference a visit to Russia makes. When Gorton and Le Cavalier went there, had a nice little talk with Rottenberg, and ever since Dimitov's ice time has gone up, he's been producing almost at a 2 point per game pace. Just amazing.
I don't know what happened in Mr. under the table. That's the only thing I don't know yet. What happening there? You never know with KHL, but will be interesting to see what happening, guys. At the end, we have to move on to the clash, everybody. And I think we have a couple of great questions for the clash tonight. It's not all about predictions, so I think David would be happy about that tonight. Again, in our tap, the revenge about them. The key behind the clash, guys, is about the absolute or not at all. So That's you have to answer that one over there. And the first one, the mission of that, we start with you. Um, Hudson won the Norris one day in NHL. Absolutely, or not at all.
I will go with absolutely. I think it's in the cards for him as long as he continues at this pace. And, you know, I think he's going to be a critical player, not just for Montreal, but just in the league. And we're going to see it. He reminds me of a lot of things that Quinn Hughes does as well. And, we've seen him go there as the Norris. So I'm going to go with absolutely.
Absolutely for you. There we go.
I'm going to say not all because I think he's going to win more than one.
Oh, that's cheap. Come on.
Okay. I would go not at all. He will never win. He will never win the Norris
Boo.
Trophy. And I will tell you why. How many years can McCall be in NHL when Hudson's going to be in NHL? How many years he's going to be Len Hudson, one Ramis Dallin, one Matthew Sheffer is going to be in NHL one day. And one's going to be his brother Cole Hudson is going to be in NHL. So for me, I think the competition he's going to face in the future is going to be harder for him to win the Norris Trophy. And that's the reason I said not at all for me. Because he faced too many good defensemen in NHL. And that's the reason I don't give him that Norris Trophy. Both of you
Disagree.
look really.
Disagree because we disagree.
Who are Schaefer and his brother going to be playing with? I guess Cole's with Washington. Schaefer will probably be with one of the bottom feeder teams. If he plays for Buffalo, he might never get out of there.
Well, I'm just mentioning name. My point behind that, Hudson is going to live all his life with the defensive zone side. Is going to hurt him at long term. So that's the reason behind Hudson too. Behind that. By the time we tell us guys, what could have been there?
Yes.
Number two, guys. Kirby Dak is going to be a center elite. When I said that, wait a minute. Elite is not 100 points. A center elite for me, as a second center, is a guy can have 60 points per year. So the question is this: do you think one day, absolutely or not at all, could be that he could reach that level as an elite second center? And I put 60. I was thinking 50. I said it's a little bit too low. 55, 58. I said I put 60. And you tell me 58. I'm okay with that part also. But 50 is not good enough for me to be considered an elite center. So my question to you, Toronto Maple Leafs lead 3-2 against Flores. Do you think it's, again, nice score a goal? That's nice. What a steal by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Devin, absolutely not at all.
I was wondering what the goalie was doing on Philadelphia. I will say absolutely. Yeah, I'll say absolutely. I think he will. I think he's got it in him. I think he's always had it in him. And he's getting back to his former self. And he's 23. He's got a number of years to achieve it. And I think that he's going to have the opportunity to play with really good players, right? He's going to have the opportunity to play with he's going to have the opportunity, presumably, to play with Ivan Demidov potentially. So. I think the opportunity will be there for him, and I think he has the ability to do it. So I'm going to say absolutely.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you, Devin. I think you brought up some good points there. The only caveat, of course, is as long as he stays healthy. That's the biggest issue with him. It always has been, and hopefully those days are behind him. And if he stays on course, I think he can get to 60 points. So absolutely for me.
Here we go.
Not at all. Here goes coach.
I would say not at all. And I will tell you why.
Of course.
I will tell you why. I believe he maybe get there right now next season if he play with Demidov example. But I think Montreal Canadiens need a better center number two, more aggressive, more for checking, more physical, more meanness instead of him, more like a Sam Bennett or a guy a little bit more tougher at Kirby Doc. Kirby Doc as a center number three would be excellent for the Montreal Canadiens. Said that, that's the reason I said I don't expect him to get 60 points. But if Montreal keep him in the chair between Demidov and Patrick Laine, it will maybe reach that level. But to put him on the elite side of that words, I don't think so. So I said not allowed for that one over there. The Minnesota tied the game, guys, 4-4. Another tie game right there. So I just want to share it with you about that. But again, if you said absolutely, I can understand that. But I'm thinking a little bit for sure. As we'll see about that. The question of I can do that honestly, Devin. I did not do it on the Clash. But we're just talking here, guys, in the chat also. In the future, in the next 5 years, do you believe Michael Edge is going to be better at Kirby Duck?
I think
that's
so.
an interesting question.
I think so. I think he brings exactly the characteristics that we hope that Doc will bring to the game. Like you're seeing it in Hage. Like he's going strong to the net. He's got very good IQ, probably hockey IQ. I would I would say probably more so than Doc. And if you're a second line centerman, I think you have to have that hockey IQ. I think he brings a stronger defensive game to the table as well. Again, I'm just basing on what I'm seeing now that he's playing, but he's not at the NHL level yet, and that's sometimes for some players it could be a huge step that they never really reach their ceiling. So, but from what I'm seeing so far, I would say yes, he would be better.
Yeah, I just see them as such different hockey players. I just see them, Hage is a skater and makes moves, whereas Doc is a power forward, right? And again, I mean, Hage's body is going to change a lot in the next few years. I would imagine. I suspect he's going to put on some size and he's going to put on some strength, and that'll change a lot. I just see them being very different style of hockey players. So I have a hard time sort of comparing them and saying one is going to be better. I think that there's a lot of aspects of the game that Hage will be better at, and I think there's probably some aspects of the game that Doc will be better at. Doc I think will be a guy who will drive the net better and will go to the front of the net and cause more of a disturbance in front of the net. Whereas Hage is going to be more of a playmaker kind of guy who will use his skating a little bit better. So it's a great question. It's a great question because it's a question that the team is probably going to have to answer someday, right? And if you have a scenario, and again, Hage may not be a center either. He may turn to be a winger for all we know, and that might have something to do with how his body develops and how he grows and how much stronger he can get. But again, that's a question that the team will probably have to answer someday. Whether you get rid of Doc or whether you've got to decide which one's going to be on the second line and which one's going to be on the third line. So it's a good glimpse into the future, and frankly, it's a pretty good. It's a good question that if you have to answer that question, you're in a pretty good place, right?
And also, and on top of it, this is a good problem for the Montreal to have.
Absolutely.
If you think about that, right? The time will tell us what happened about this, but we'll see happening. We have to move on, guys. If you don't mind, a lot of people pop up. Thanks for all the likes that we got.
What's your answer, Coach?
Delaney, guys, did a super chat, ladies and gentlemen. The first super chat tonight that's on the show, Habs Nation. Here we go. Rivers. You did it again, Roger Delaney for the Hockey Nation Show. Great super chat tonight, Roger. Thanks so much for your support of the Hockey Nation Show. We're on the stretch of 5 nights with a super chat, so great to see people pop up and they give us some likes and if super chat. That's Roger. Thanks so much on that one. We appreciate a lot to support the channel. And that's the reason we come back every night. And we want to thank also in our type of event to their time as a co-host tonight. Next one, guys, Montreal Canadiens and the playoff before Ottawa Buffalo at any time.
Is it Ottawa and Buffalo or Ottawa or Buffalo?
One of the two other teams. So Montreal be in front and be in the playoff before Ottawa or Buffalo.
Goodness.
Well, I think they'll be in the playoffs before Buffalo. I don't know that they will be before Ottawa.
Yeah, Ottawa's the tougher one of the two.
Yeah, sorry, RDP, but for me, I would say that they'll absolutely make the playoffs before Buffalo will. I'm not so sure about Ottawa.
So you're saying not at all?
No.
Does it have to be both, or does it have to be one or the other?
One or one of them.
Yes, I'll say absolutely that they'll make the playoffs before one of those two, and they'll make it before Buffalo. So absolutely.
I'm sorry again. Add the be in the playoff before Ottawa and Buffalo. I apologize.
Oh. I mean, I said earlier that I thought Ottawa was going to make the playoffs this year, so I guess I'll have to say not at all.
Not at all. Okay. And after, before you answer, under or over 22 years before the Buffalo Sabres reach the playoff.
22 more years or 22 years total?
We got a number alert again and the LDP right there.
I say exactly.
But what do you feel about that Montreal in the playoff before Ottawa or and Buffalo?
I'm gonna wear my rosy glasses here and say yes. I think they will be in before both. Absolutely.
Okay. Which year?
Next year.
Next year. Okay. So you don't expect Ottawa in the playoff, and you don't expect Buffalo, but you put Ottawa 1 hour ago in the playoff.
I know. I was hoping you wouldn't go there. I was hoping.
It's okay. No big deal. Thanks so much for the likes. Legend back in the house, by the way. A lot of people for you knock the door also. We're not done. Two more. No, Devin don't like those, but it is what it is. Devin,
did you answer
one for you?
Did you answer?
Caulfield had more goal at Jake Guenzel. Oh my God, I screwed up his name right there. Jake Guenzel. Caulfield 22, Guenzel 21.
Wow.
You know, I think David, I will give you one stat important on that one. Senko's played with point Kucherov. Senko finished with minus 22 last season, I believe. I could be wrong for a couple of, main minus 1 or 2 less. But right now, Guenzel is at plus 8. Just give you an idea sometimes, like the defensive plug can change the line. But I have to give credit for that one for Jake Guenzel. But anyway, Caulfield more goal at Jake Guenzel at the end, 22-21. A2 go with yes.
So I'm going to say, Gensel, I think, is going to get a lot of opportunities. I think we all agree that Tampa Bay is going to be right in the mix for the playoffs. They're going to be playing important games right to the very end. We all know what Kucherov can do when he puts his mind to things, and like him having the opportunity to play with Point and Kucherov, especially on the power play. I think Gensel's going to get an awful lot of chances to score goals, and I mean that's not to say that Caulfield won't. But I'm gonna say not at all. I don't think Caulfield will get more goals than Guentzel this year. I think that Guentzel is gonna score a lot of goals between now and the end of the year.
Not that.
I'm gonna go with
21, Malakas.
absolutely. I think Caulfield is having a great year this year. His game has really come around, and as long as he's got the players that keep setting him up beautifully, this guy's got a great shot. He doesn't miss. So I'm going to say absolutely.
Absolutely for not that, and Mr. Levin.
Not at all.
I said not at all.
Okay.
And
Not
coach?
allowed for me. Gonzel play with Point Kucherov, and I think that's the reason why I go with that one over there. A little bit more talented. Suzuki.
The other fact, the other factor to consider too is I saw the stat on the game last night. They talked about it where Cole Caulfield's numbers, goal scoring numbers, are significantly lower when Patrick Laine is in the
Yeah,
in the
that's what would be my second point behind that. The power play where Caulfield can get more goals. Devin, you're absolutely right about that. That's a good point to mention this. So that's the reason I go with you, Devin. Good point. Mr. Top, Lane Hutson gets 60 points.
We
Absolutely.
exactly, absolutely.
Oh,
Absolutely.
Devin now. Prediction for you.
Absolutely, 100%, easy money if he stays healthy.
Yeah. Coach.
I think he gets 70 points. I think
Not
he gets
allowed.
70 points.
Not allowed. I will tell you why. The Montreal Canadiens are
Tell
going
us
to
why.
be in the mix. The game is going to be harder and harder the next couple of weeks. Not for Montreal, but in NHL. It's going to be now the team want to make the playoffs. You're going to have less goal. It's going to be more tie. I think there'll be, and that's what I believe is happening for Lane Hutson. I think it would be close, but to reach 60, you have to multiply twice of what he did already. And I think at some point, that would be more difficult. That's the reason I go that. So not allowed for Lane Hutson. I'm hard on Lane Hutson tonight, but I like him, by the way.
Yes, you are.
The last one, Devin. Cole Caulfield
All
reached 40 goals, but at the same time, Nick Suzuki reached 82 points. Both of them have to do this at the end of the year. Absolutely, and not allowed.
Absolutely, 100%. They're both. I mean, they're both on pace for that right now, despite the team struggling for the first 30 games of the year. I think if the team plays, I mean, I don't know that they can continue to play at the level they are right now for the rest of the year, but I think they can certainly play well above the level they did in October and November. And that team has been clicking better. They're certainly on an upward trajectory. So I think that they're both trending to those numbers right now. I think Caulfield's got 22 or 23 goals, and Suzuki is on a point per game pace right now as it is. And I think as that line continues to trend upwards, I think that their pace will increase. I think they both will make those numbers. I won't say easily, but I don't think it'll be. Again, if they stay healthy, I don't think it'll be that hard. It'll be hard, but not. I think they'll do it. They'll do it, no problem.
Toronto beat the Flyers guys 3-2. And after
Yes, I would agree. I mean, those numbers are right on target as far as I'm concerned. I think Suzuki has maybe the potential to go a little bit higher than 82, and Caulfield should hit right at 40 in my eyes. So I'm going to say absolutely,
Devin again.
absolutely.
I said absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, I'll go with
Easily.
you guys. Absolutely for that one. I think Montreal is going to be fine. I think Coffee is going to barely finish at 43 at the end of the year, and Suzuki is going to get guys 84 points this year. And after, do I put this on my Bible again, or do you want me to write this on my Bible?
I think I have it in. I think you have mine in there already for that. I had him around there, 84.
The next
85
question
points.
for the clash, Mr. Tap, tomorrow, I will do it for Marco. Do you think Suzuki is going to have more points at the end of the year I will give you this guy an extra. Can we do an extra tonight? We feel good. Montreal winning, so why not to give you an extra? David love those questions like that.
Okay.
My
Love it.
last
Can I
one.
throw an extra one after you?
Oh, you can go, but I will give you an extra, Mister. And after David.
Go.
Do you
Go,
think
sir.
Nick Suzuki is going to finish at the end of the year more points que the Montreal Canadiens? Oh, this one is a good
Oh.
one.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely for me.
You expect Nick Suzuki have more points at the Montreal Canadiens at the end of the year?
Well, at the beginning of the year, I predicted Montreal 80 to 82 points. And I already said I committed to saying Suzuki should hit around 85 points. So, yeah, I'm going to stick to that. Absolutely.
David,
Wow.
it's a good one.
A double
This is a
prediction.
good one.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's a double prediction. The more points Suzuki gets, the more likely the Canadians are to get points, right? So they kind of go hand in hand. I will say that I believe that that Nick Suzuki will end up with more points than the Montreal Canadiens. So I don't know how the question was framed, whether that's an absolutely or a not at all, but I believe that Suzuki will have more points than the team will have.
Absolutely.
So, and you have absolutely as well, Coach?
No, but that's what he said, David. So the answer is absolutely because the question is about Suzuki have more points at Montreal. And after you said what?
I said absolutely as well.
No, I predict 84 points for Suzuki.
So is that an absolutely or not at all?
I predict at the beginning of the season 78 points for the Montreal Canadiens.
So you're absolutely.
But they're looking better, Mr. Nartap. You know, Mr. Nartap, I run the show. So I can make a
Yes,
new
you do.
rule on that one, Mr. Nartap.
Calling it tie. I want to call the tie first.
Go ahead.
I want to call it a tie. Can I call it a tie? Is that what you're gonna do?
That's my answer, and David. This is my answer about that one over there. This is a tie
you
between
guys-
Suzuki and the Montreal Canadiens at the end, Mr. Nartap. So you want to have one more, Mr. Nartap? Let's do it.
Yeah, I'm gonna add a very quick one. Ready? The Montreal Canadiens will have 2 consecutive Calder Trophy winners. Hutson this year and Demidov next year.
Not at all.
Absolutely or not at all?
Not at all.
Would that be a first in Montreal franchise history? 2 consecutive rookie.
Oh,
I think it is. I think it would be.
yes, but I have to verify. Go ahead.
Devin?
I'll look it up.
Absolutely or not at all?
I'm going to say not at all. Not because I don't think they won't deserve it, but I think more so because I don't think that they'll. I don't think that they'll give it to Caulfield this year, or sorry, that they'll give it to Hutson this year. Regardless, I don't. I don't see them, as giving it to a defenseman, and I don't see them giving it to anybody over Macklin Celebrini. The Canadiens do not have back-to-back Calder Trophy winners.
Okay.
No, the closest one is 62.
Bobby Russo and Jacques Laperriere.
Yeah. Yeah,
There's
right.
a year
about
between
that.
them, though.
So great question
I'm
about
gonna say
that.
absolute. I'm going to
That's
say
a-
absolutely then. Put it in your Bible, Coach.
No,
Jacques
obviously.
Laperriere, right there.
No.
No,
He's
but
not gonna
not
put it in the
not
Bible.
now and now for the answer about that. And look, the show tonight it was this the subject, and we do this at the end because I want to review that. Montreal Canadiens and the playoff. Do you believe it? That was the subject of the night about everything we talk about this. So to conclude the show tonight, I would like to have people in the chat. Do you think Montreal Canadiens are going to be in the playoff at the end of the year? I know we did your prediction before that. Before the show started, Mr. Natap, they was right there. Now they drop a fifth and the back right away there. So that will show you guys a roller coaster and you have to win almost every time at least to get one point right there. So for me, do you believe Montreal are going to be in the playoff team, or do you think they will be in the mix? So at the end of the year, do you think Montreal Canadiens are going to be 5 points or less to the wild card?
You want me to go
Ooh,
first, or
5 points or
you
less.
want to
You go
you
ahead,
want to
Anatap.
tackle it first? Okay. I'm gonna say as I mean, there's a difference between believing it and actually happening, right? I just think that there's just too much parity out there, and as the season goes on, it's going to be tougher and tougher. I say it'll be 5 points or more, so I'm going to say they're going to be out of the playoff. The
Let me be
important
clear. The
thing is
question
that
is whether
they're improving, they're developing. That, like, to me, that's the most important. The playoffs this year is not a. I mean, if it happens, great. I would love it, but it's not the big issue this year. It's to see them continue to grow and develop and mature as a team, and then next year you have a different set of expectations.
David?
yeah. So let me be clear. Is the question whether or not I think they'll make the playoffs, or whether I think they'll be within 5 points of a playoff spot? Is it within 5 points, or is it do I have to say they're
Five
going to make the
point less.
playoffs?
Five. Do you
Okay.
believe it could be a playoff? I would say
I
they stay in the mix. So the question I can ask you, David, do you think they will be in the playoff or they will be in the mix?
I believe they'll be within 5 points of a playoff spot this year. It's funny, thinking about it. We've almost been brainwashed not to believe that, not to say it, because it's been, everyone's been sort of, all the fans of the other teams have sort of been pounding us and saying, "Wow, you guys think your team is so great," and it's, you almost like we've been brainwashed about it. But I do believe that this team is capable of it. They're showing us that they're capable of it. They can do it. The question is whether they will do it at this point, right? And whether or not they can
Exactly.
maintain the level of play, whether they can maintain the level of play necessary for them to make the playoffs, because they've demonstrated to us in the last 2.5 3 weeks that they are a quote unquote playoff team, and that they have the skill and ability to beat anybody in the league. But can they do that consistently? Can they keep it up? Can they meet it into that spot? That's the question. I personally believe that they can. And it'll be interesting. And I agree with you completely on it, that making the playoffs is not, that's not the be all and end all for this team right now. And, if they don't make the playoffs, I don't think it will be a failure. And that's kind of the risk at predicting that at this stage of the season, is that, if they don't make the playoffs, everyone's going to come around and tell us at the end of the year, "Oh, you guys said they were going to make the playoffs and they didn't, so it's a failure." Well, no, it's not going to be a failure if they don't make the playoffs, as long as they continue to progress and the individual players get better, and aspects of their game improve. I think that'll be fine. But I do think that they will finish, quote unquote, in the mix, and that they will, uh, be within 5 points of a playoff spot by the end of the year.
Devin, Devin, how many points do you think they'll end up with?
Go ahead.
It's a good question. I think if they finish somewhere in the range between, I see them sort of 84 to 88, maybe.
Oh, I
And I
am
know
out.
that's
Yeah.
I'm out. Who have the more points at the
oh
end of the year, Suzuki or Montreal Canadiens?
Oh,
exactly.
we
I
answered
think
that.
that Suzuki will have more. I think Suzuki. I think
Right.
Suzuki will have. I think
How
Suzuki
many?
will be, and I called a tie. I just like you. I said I wanted to call a tie. I think the Suzuki ends up with. I think Suzuki ends up, more than a point per game this year.
So then the
I,
range
I-
should
I'll say,
be.
I'll say this. So just so you can write it in the Bible, say the Canadians will finish the season with 86 points, and Nick Suzuki will finish the season with 87.
Wow. Okay. So 86
Right?
points. I mean, playoff spot should be probably that second wild card should be around 90 points plus. So that puts him in the range of 5 points, as you said. I just don't see him going as high as 86, to be honest. But I could be wrong.
Again, I think they've demonstrated to us that they have the capacity to do it. They've also demonstrated to us they have the capacity to not do it. But I think that they're definitely on an upward swing, and I think that what we're seeing right now is not a turnaround. I think what we're seeing right now is an improvement. It's a progression, and while I do think there will be steps backward, I don't think they'll ever regress back to where they were at the beginning of this year. They may take a step back from where they are right now, but I don't see them stepping back to 9-2 against Pittsburgh or 8-3 against Seattle. I don't think they'll regress back to that team ever again. I think they're beyond that.
And you're seeing a healthy team too, for a change.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's only absolutely.
What do you think, Coach?
I don't think.
What do you guess?
So at the end of the day, guys, do you really believe Montreal can play better at what they play right now?
Not better. No, because there's
No, I
going
don't think. No, I
there's
think
going to be
this
things
this
happening.
is what.
That's my feeling. So we reached the peak of who we are, and I feel like other teams are not there yet. So for me, most important thing, guys, is to have two things. First of all, learn to win game, and secondly, to play meaningful game in March and April. This is my goal for the Montreal Canadiens: progression, development, of course, right? But this is what I'm looking for. So for me, could be a problem for the Montreal Canadiens, um, and I think that would be the reason they're not going to be in the playoff. First of all, secondly, we barely in the mix, and we'll see. Now, never go against Martin St. Louis, but at the end of the day, I think that could happen for the Montreal Canadiens. I have other subjects. We want to keep those subjects for tomorrow night, for the show tomorrow night. We are back, guys, with the half of the season for the Montreal Canadiens. And if I'm on Thursday night, but it's going to be the half of the season, guys, of the NHL. I think it will be very interesting to see that of NHL. Our prediction at the beginning of the year, where we at today compared to the prediction at the beginning. Minnesota just scored a goal, guys, 5-4 against St. Louis. Matt Boldy scored a goal. Winnipeg Jet winning 4-2. Calgary Flame, guys, 0-0. This is my next thing to do, is watching the game between the Calgary Flame, everybody. We will have to everybody click on the like before we leave the building. And I will give you guys one more thing here for the end. 87 point and Montreal 86.
It's on the wall.
It's the wall.
Keep it there.
It's
Keep
one
it there.
battle. But at the end of the day, David, what I see, le contrat, le contractory, no?
Contradict.
Okay, is if Zuski get 86 points, Montreal are more point at what you put on the board.
I see that. I agree.
Right? So
if Suzuki is an 87-point guy, the Canadiens are probably going to be doing better than that.
Yeah,
because that's going to mean that they're. That's fair.
So I will give you another 24 hours, David, to thinking about this. Then you can send the paper behind you if you want to.
Listen, here's the great thing about that prediction is if Suzuki ends up with 90 points and the Canadiens end up with 95, I'll be very happy to be wrong.
Yeah, of course.
Of
right?
course.
Like I always said to you guys, I want Montreal to have a better pick, but it will not be unhappy if the Montreal have a better year at the end of the day for that one there.
Exactly.
What a great show tonight, guys. First of all, because of both of you, but I think overall the people in the show was really in tonight. They participate. We have a lot of great subjects. We talk about many things. Canadian Coley, Montreal, Canadian Vancouver. We talk about performance of Lane Hutson, and we keep continue to deliver every night, guys. Content about the Montreal Canadiens. I think Abby Nation have a great post tonight. I will give him the first star of the night for the Habs Nation. And he said in the chat, the social
I
media
should have
or
picked
the
up for
YouTube channel gave an opportunity for all of us not to be an expert, but to have a language or an opinion exactly like the people are on the bigger platform, like on the radio, example, on the radio. Some of them play in NHL. Some of them have a better experience. But when you talk about, when you thinking about their comments, like Martin Lemay or any others, like, Gonzalez, what do you think? And you compare what the people said in the chat, for me, it's equal. I think for me, it's the same thing. Whatever Gaston Terrien dit or Norman Flynn or the people in the chat on the TV, I think the YouTube channel gave a better way to express, give a chance to the people express. So you can see in the chat, a lot of people are really great, knowledgeable about hockey. That's making the channel better and the chat, because we have a chance to sharing our own opinion with respect, agree or disagree. And that's the reason we do it every single night. And the reason David coming back and in our time, guys, we want to say to both of you, guys, thank you so much for your time you give to the channel. It's really nice of each one of you to do that. You can follow also Devin on his YouTube channel at the Recliner Sport YouTube channel. And you can follow in our tab at the Black Menu every Friday night in Thailand. And our tab perform have a singer over there. Danny is the next one. He's going to be at the Black Menu next week about that. But the reason is on top who you are. You are awesome. You are amazing. You are the best. And remember, you have greatness inside of you. Be well, be healthy. Find a way not only dominate your day, but find a way to dominate this first app of what? In our top.
your 2025.
You did it again. Had an amazing, great night, both of you. We'll see you next time. Thanks so much, both of you. Guys, let's conclude the show tonight. We appreciate. We'll be back tomorrow night, 8:30 with Frank and Marco for the notebook. I know the music is over. That's okay. Not big deal about that. It's happened sometime. Try to put my mouse over there. And I wish everybody an amazing, great night, sweet dream. And of course, don't forget to come back tomorrow night with the crew, the two new co-hosts of the show tonight, tomorrow night. Was a pleasure to serve you tonight, to entertaining you for approximately 2 hours. I can wait to see you tomorrow night. But again, the Hockey Nation show, the Habs Nation, want to tell you one more thing. We love you, friends. Had an amazing, great night, everybody. Thanks for every one of you. We reached the 60 likes. This is the goal we try to accomplish every single night. We just said to you guys, from my bottom heart, from my bottom of my heart, something like that. I'm grateful and thankful to see all of you in the chat every night. Some of you, you know who you are. I just said to you, thanks so much. Have an amazing, great night, everybody. And one more thing before we finish. It's coming. Booyah!